Computer. All right, there we go. Now I've got it. Okay. Now we'll share. There we go. Okay.
Welcome, everybody. Tonight's webinar is State-of-the-Art Solutions for 21st Century Problems. My name is Lori Stovall, and I am team leader out of Arizona.
And I'm Shajetta Spear. I'm the team leader out of Mississippi.
And we are so glad to have you tonight.
Yes, we are. We're going to jump right in, and we're going to go with everybody's always question, who thought up this 40-hour work week? Well, everybody can thank Henry Ford. On September 25th, 1926, he changed history by going to a 5-day, 8-hour each day, so 40-hour work week. And he did that. The gentleman before, the workers before had worked anywhere from 10 to 16 hours a day and made like $2.37 a day. Well, when he went to the 40-hour 5-day week, he changed that to $10, or $5, excuse me, $5 a day. And that was done not for the workers, but that was done more for his benefit. It allowed them to be able to purchase the vehicles they were making, the products they were making. So he started what we are all still working on today. And back then, what most people don't realize, it was mainly a man's workforce. There were only like 21% of women working back in the 1920s. And then if you think about it, that was due to either like a husband having passed from like probably World War I, you know, some sort of disease, something. I mean, women were stay at home. So these were all, this stuff was geared for men, not actually at all for women.
Well, this push to produce employees and hard workers and the standard of working long hours move forward from generation to generation and brings us to this average work week that we're all familiar with today. I've got a question for you. Get ready to answer in the chat. If your job called you tonight after this Zoom and asked you to come in tomorrow and work for free, how many of you love your job enough to say, yes, I'll be there? And I'm looking in the chat. I guarantee you get a big no from me. Oh, we got a no, a resounding no.
Exactly.
Well, you know, and as amazing enough, there was a survey done by the Washington Post that states that over 71% of employees are out there looking for new jobs. 45% of the people said that they rarely or never get the money that they feel like they deserve. And 64% of them say they don't get enough support from their supervisors or they just don't like their coworkers. 2/3 of the study indicate that employees are just plain stressed out at work, and they actually believe that their job is having a significant impact, a negative impact on their mental and behavioral health. So why are we working so hard, Jajetta?
It just seems to be we just keep working harder and harder, and here's another reason why. Drop me a 1 in that chat if you've ever heard of Keeping Up with the Joneses. I know we've all heard it. I know I heard it growing up. I've told my kids the same thing, you know. This was actually started in a comic strip back in 1913. And it's funny to know that we're still using a saying that comes from that far back. And what it boils down to is appearances, keeping up with the Joneses. You know, you're trying to keep up with the guy that's got the really nice house, they've got the destination vacations, all the toys and everything. And that is really what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses. And we're creatures of habit. We want nice things. So we want what the neighbors have. And the neighbors are in your same pay grade and you're wondering, how is this happening? And, you know, it sounds bad, but how deep in debt are they? How bad is the credit card debt? How many loans do they have? And bottom line, many Americans live way beyond their means. A recent survey found that 1/3 of the people ages 30 to 49 have more credit card debt than they have savings, which is really scary. And Americans are in a lot of debt. And, you know, we know it's because they're trying to live beyond their means. So keeping this debt in check means we are working harder.
Well, we are definitely not living in a leave it to beaver world anymore. 71% of women are working outside of the home, meaning somebody has got to watch the kiddos, right?
Yeah.
With that, the rising cost of childcare is making a huge impact on the family budget. Statistics show that over 70% of Americans reported paying over 10% of their income on childcare alone. To break it down a little further, because it's been a while since I've had to write a check for childcare, they say that the average weekly childcare cost is $199 a week at a family care center for one child, $211 a week at a daycare center, and $596 a week for a nanny. That's a whopping $844 a month payment, which, for many people, that's a mortgage payment. And just imagine all those families that have more than one child. It's no wonder we are working harder.
Exactly. And then we get into like student loan and medical, and that's just astronomical. Student loan, I mean, for the young Americans, their diplomas that they've worked so hard for and they're now proud of, they're up on the wall and they're framed. The average student loan debt is $31,172. And that was as of 2019. The average loan payment's $393, and that can range anywhere from 10 to 30 years. And it can go a lot higher. My son has a friend that has a $100,000 student loan debt that he's making an $1,100 a month payment on for 30 years. You're looking at a mortgage, literally a mortgage, and you're wondering how are they going to live? And then you start talking medical. Even for the young people to get medical insurance, it's an average of about $200 a month for a 21-year-old. And God forbid if they go to the emergency room without insurance, your visit's going to cost anywhere from $150 to $3,000, depending on what's going on with you, your injury or illness, what you're there for. And if you had to take an ambulance, it's another $1,000 plus, and God forbid if you're airlifted. And critical care, if you're required to go into the ICU, that's $20,000 plus a day. When my son was left for dead in the road with the motorcycle accident he was involved in, we were at $50,000 a day because of what was going on with him and the care he needed. So, I mean, with all of that, you just work a lot harder. And then we go into what happened back in 2008. We had a recession. And in 2008, I mean, we watched people it was nuts. I mean, people were losing jobs and homes and cars. And I mean, here you are, families having to move back home to their parents' house with their kids because they don't have a home anymore. In April of 2002, I was rear-ended by a drunk driver, and my husband and I have 5 kids between us. I have 3 and he has 2. Well, we lost my income at that point. I could no longer work outside the home with what the job was that I was doing. So we went from 2 incomes to 1, which really, I mean, that's a hit when you're raising 5 kids. That's a hit. And about the time we thought we were getting right back to it, we got the recession in 2008, and it hit us hard. We lost $47,000 in his 401k, and that does not return. You don't get that handed back to you when the markets come back up and they don't say, oh, here it is. No, it's gone. So, I mean, we really had, it was a hard hit when you started looking at that and you're thinking, how in the heck now are we going to retire? I mean, how do you recoup that money? Well, because of that, 11 years later now, older Americans, or what we call them the younger plus, 19.8% of those adults ages 65 or older, or 10.5 million people, are still either full-time or part-time employed because they lost exactly what we lost, their retirement. And now you know why we continue to work harder.
Well, we all know that advancements in technology have impacted the way that we live, play, and work, and in many ways for the better. For the most part, we have instant access to almost anything we want to know from anywhere in the world, just right at our fingertips. But, with that comes a price, and the price we pay with those gained efficiencies and automation is that fewer people are needed to do what they did before, or they're not needed at all. Companies are downsizing and positions are being eliminated every day. We see that on the news, at least on a weekly basis, large companies. And this results in more people out in the workforce competing for the same jobs, or even taking a lesser one just to bring a paycheck home. I can really speak to this because, with the same advancements we were just talking about, I was given the decision after 27 years with my company to either pick our family up and leave tech a new job. And, as terrifying as it was, it ended up being the best move we could have ever made. I actually consider ourselves lucky because at least I had a choice and so many of us don't. But it certainly, rocked my faith in what true job security really is.
Definitely.
So I know Jajetta and I and countless others, we've come to the realization that the traditional methods that were passed down to us were not only failing us, but failing others. Saving money underneath your mattress is not going to get you to where you need to be. So it was time to do something different.
So drop a 2 in the chat, or actually tell us, who taught you about your financial knowledge? Who taught you? Where did you learn it from? Most of us, it was our parents. And unfortunately, our parents were not really qualified to teach us about finances, because where did they learn? And it was their parents. And if your parents were like mine, they lived paycheck to paycheck. It is what it is. It just was, it's what they learned. And as time has gone on, unfortunately, because of how we were raised, this is pretty much how we instilled information into our children. And the education system, the schools, we send our kids to school to learn, and they're getting taught how to be good employees. You raise your hand to go to the bathroom. I mean, you're a senior in high school and you're raising your hand to go to the bathroom. You're being taught to be a good employee, a good part of the workforce. And again, it's all geared to our, what we call that 40-40-40 plan.
Well, a lot of us were also taught that talking about money was taboo, and admitting that you wanted more of it is a major no-no. It just wasn't something that was discussed except behind closed doors, and in many cases led to arguments. In a study conducted by the University College London, people were 7 times more likely to talk to a total stranger about sex, affairs, and STDs than discuss their salary with someone, which is absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah, a little more information than we want to know.
Yeah, exactly. But that just shows you how taboo the topic is. And so we all live in the dark and don't know how to correctly do things.
Exactly. Well, that brings us to assets and liabilities. And most of us, unfortunately, don't realize the importance and the power behind these 2 words. And simply put, Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, states the difference between the poor and the middle class and the rich is understanding these words. Assets put money in your pocket, whether you work for them or not, and liabilities take money out of your pocket. So in the midst of all this chaos and mess that we've created, how do we acquire assets?
Well, this is the exciting part because now we get to talk solutions, Jajetta.
Yes, yes.
Let me introduce you to Kuvera. Kuvera is a US-based financial tech education company. The heart of our mission is to bring financial education to anyone who needs it, to allow them to have more time to enjoy the things they love doing.
Yes.
We are a global company whose system is allowing people to get the right education to pay off debt, and affordable platforms to create more income and build multiple streams of income. We're publicly traded on the stock market under the InvestView marker, which is INVU. And what this means is that we are required to open up our books every 3 months and be audited for total transparency. We're also rated A+ on the Better Business Bureau. And I know for Jajetta and I, credibility was very important to us.
Yes, that was huge. So we're known as a we like to think of ourselves as a full service financial fitness center. You get your financial education package, which you get Money Pro, which Ross Jardin is amazing. He helps you learn basically the right way, to, believe it or not, to buy a home, the right way to buy a car, the correct way to pay off debt. You get actually like a spreadsheet almost that you get to fill information in on, and they tell you exactly the loans, the debts that you need to pay off first and how you work your way through so you can become debt free. Kuvera University, where we get all of our information in regards to different things, different supports, like if you were interested in learning to do a certain kind of like Forex trading, you can learn right there. They have beginner, intermediate, and advanced. It's just incredibly amazing what they offer. And Kuvera TV, because somebody is always giving some sort of information out there, giving something and some sort of training. We're in over 75 countries, so just make sure you look for the language you speak, because there will be some other languages there. But you get all the information, and it's well worth the watch. And then we have our Alerts One, which gives us all the information for the trades. That's where we get our information for our Forex trading, our crypto trading, the binaries, things like that. And then we have cryptocurrency, which you get that information through Alerts One also, and for the stock market. And then new for us is Wallet Pro. It actually allows you to access it's a debit card, so it makes it easier for you to get your money out from your brokers and able to access and spend. Just it's immediate. And Travel Pro, so you can get up to 65% off your travel, which who doesn't want to have that with where you're going when it comes to a hotel or a rental car or airfare. I mean, we all want to get a discount, and that's going to offer you a great discount. And then we do have additional options. There's Apex, which is like a digital technology, things like Facebook, things like that, cloud, they store information. So you have access to that. Equity Pro, FX Global, and Wealth Builder are all where they're automated, done through our safety management company. And it just depends on what you're looking for to do as to which, what you'd like to actually be able to access and use.
So what is Forex? If you have ever heard the terms FX, Forex, or the foreign exchange market, just know that they're all the same thing. And don't worry, before partnering with Kuvera, we hadn't heard of it either. It's like speaking a whole new language of love.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
What's surprising about it, yes. What's really surprising about it, though, is that the foreign exchange market has been around for over 100 years. And it's interesting that we're just now hearing about it.
Well, to put it simply, the foreign exchange market involves the trade of one country's currency to another. So if you've ever traveled outside of the country, outside the U.S., you've participated in the foreign exchange market because you've had to exchange our currency for somebody else's. Even if you have never done it, it's the same principles done for like when our country is trading with another country, when you're doing steel, when they're doing the steel trades, when they're doing even as simple as our like the wheat and the corn and things like that. All of this gets involved in the foreign exchange market.
So the largest financial market in the world is actually the foreign exchange market. We're talking an average daily trading volume of $6.6 trillion a day compared to the $22.4 billion a day on the New York Stock Exchange, which I'm sure you're more familiar with that. The foreign exchange market stays open 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, versus our stock exchange, whose bells ring at 4 p.m. Eastern every day.
So if you go to any large city and you see the big buildings, guarantee you're going to find that these big buildings have a bank name. And after all, banks are in business to make money. They're a business. So were you aware that when you open an account with them, that you agree to allow them to use your money to invest in the foreign exchange market? Didn't have a clue. That was pretty eye-opening to Lori and I. Pretty eye-opening. And you consider it's a $6.6 trillion a day market, and I don't know about you, but The bank offers us 0.05% compounded annually. So they're not giving you too much in return for what they're doing with your money. So now we know why we have suckers on those tables when you walk in. So if you wonder why it's so huge and why you haven't heard of it before, well, up until about 6 years ago, you and I as normal blue collar people were not able to get in. You had to have a minimum of 6 figures to actually get into this foreign exchange market. You had to have the Warren Buffett money, you had to be a huge business, you had to, be a hedge fund, something like that to even be able to get into this. And now with as little as $100, you can actually have a broker account and get in and start getting your piece of the pie.
Wow. And obviously that's what's making it more popular, huh?
Very much more popular.
So what do a truck driver, a single mom working 3 jobs, a disabled grandpa, a 30-year corporate employee, and a 20-something-year-old college student have in common? No, it's not a knock-knock joke. They are having true success in the foreign exchange market thanks to the product lineup that we've touched on previously. The education and the training and the alerts that we receive through Kuvera's education and trading platforms are making this possible for us.
And with no prior experience, no special skills, these people are working less hours. They're getting to quit like extra jobs. I mean, 2 and 3 jobs are meant for 2 and 3 people. We should only, if you're going to work one. And they're getting to create exit plans. They're getting to plan for travel. They're actually planning on retiring early because of what this market has actually given them and afforded them. So, enrollment packs. I know, so now we're all questioning what's this going to do? Well, the select pack is where we tell everybody that is a good place to start. You get your, it's $299.99. You get your alerts 1, which gives you your actual alerts for the foreign exchange market. They will give you the actual entry point. They'll give you a stop loss. So basically that's in case something happened and the market went the opposite way, you're not losing a lot of money. And they give you the take profits. So that way, basically it says when it hits here, close me out and let me get what money I got coming. And that's exactly what they do. They give us those notifications. You get it for the cryptocurrency also, and for the stock market the same way. Kuvera TV, like we talked about earlier, the Kuvera University, Money Pro, Travel Pro, and Wallet Pro. You get all of those with the select package. And then after that, each month it's $174.99. Now with this, you do get a 10-day money back guarantee. So what we do with everybody when they first start is we let them start with a demo account, and that gives them a chance to learn what we're doing and to safely be able to say, I really like this and I want to do this. And then we can help them get set up with a live account because we leave nobody behind. We are the top team in North America, and we have the best training, I think, going on here in North America. I myself do a lot of the training for that with the people as they come on. Lori does that training with the people as they come on. And that way they feel very secure in what they're doing. And if it's not for you, you know what? You've learned it's not for you, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. At least you tried it and you know.
So it gets better than that. A quick question. How many of you watch TV commercials anymore? No, I don't. I mute the TV, or thanks to the DVR, we're fast forwarding right through them. And, major corporations are starting to figure that out. The old traditional marketing methods are just not working anymore. And what they're transitioning to is referral-based marketing. And what that is they've started paying people to refer their family and friends to them to try their products and services. Well, Kuvera has adopted that same principle and is applying it to our products and services as well. Ours is better, in my opinion, because the day you join Kuvera, you're actually eligible to get paid $50 and even more, depending on what package they sign up with, for every person that you enroll. And this is actually called our Fast Start bonus. There are no limits to how many people you can invite into Kuvera. Even better, it gets paid to you weekly. And, you know, this is just one of a total of 6 different ways that you can get paid through our amazing bonus plan if you choose to participate.
And participation, yeah, is optional. You don't have to, exactly. So there's 3 things you can do right now. And we know you want to try this at least. So get back with the person who invited you on this call and ask any questions. Ask them any questions. And if they don't have the answer, they will definitely get with somebody that does. And ask them for their enrollment link also. And then you can ask them to add you to our Money 2.0 if you have not already been added to that. So much information in there that you can actually get your hands on about what we do. And then you can join us tomorrow night. We also have another Zoom call tomorrow night if you wish to see this again. And Kevin does an awesome job on his call. He actually does a little different than we do, and gives a little strategy training information while he's doing his call. So you get a different kind of information than what Lori and I give. So everybody has their own little twist on things. But I would like to say thank you very much for giving us your time. We appreciate that very much. And get back with the person that invited you to the call.
Yes, thank you for joining in.
Very much, thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Have a great evening.